All right, guys, pardon me, one of my mics went down, so I'm stuck with one mic today, but we're going to show you how to set up the triple score to run down there in that salt water when you come to the beach. Now, I have tested the triple score with these settings. Number one, they're stable. Number two, they're super deep. And this can be ran probably all the way up the east coast of the United States, all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. And if you live in a place that has mineralized sand, you know, the black sand, it may take some more tweaking, but I'm going to show you how to tweak it a little bit. I'm going to give you a base beach program and then show you how you can kind of get a little more out of it, and if you want it more stable, which way to go. But I'm going to show you how all this stuff works together. So we're going to look at one of the first things on the ground balance on this unit. When you're on a saltwater beach, a unit has to be ground balanced. You see where the camera setting is dry sand, down here is wet sand, and it's different ground phases, you know, and the machine reacts different to it. So what do I do for a solution if I want to go from the wet to the dry? Notice I put the machine in tracking ground balance. You see the little icon up top there? Let me make sure it's on. Yep, I see it from here. Didn't even have to put my eyeballs on. But we want the machine in a tracking ground balance configuration. That way when we come from the wet to the dry, the machine automatically makes the adjustments for the ground that's under the coil. Hence, very useful tool and works very, very well. Have not seen any negative effects on these machines, the Nokta units, using tracking ground balance. Okay, of course, we're going to come over here and you see the ground balance where it's running. We're going to look at recovery speed, and on the triple score, I'm going to give you two options, a 3 or 2. And I'm going to demo the 3 and the 2 in the saltwater. Both are extremely capable of being ran. You get a little more feedback with the recovery of 2. The faster recovery speed gives you a little more stability because it ignores some of the minerals in the saltwater beach or on the saltwater beach. But 3, and it's very capable if you don't crank this. And this is another thing with these units. You know, more is less. Sometimes we don't want to run them unstable on the beach. 3 is hitting a 12 to 13 inch gold ring. 2 will smack it. So a 3 or 2 on recovery speed. The DT I don't run. I don't use that. What we got here, the iron filter, we can run at 1. If we have problems with bottle caps, we can adjust that. But I can hear them pretty good on this unit. And also, one side note, there is a bottle cap feature on this unit. If you need it, use it. If you find yourself digging bottle caps and you dig a couple of bottle caps, go over there to the bottle cap feature, run it up and listen to it start to stutter the bottle cap. But I know these machines pretty well, and I'm pretty much able to dig on the beach without it. But if you need it, use it. It's a great feature. And I'll show you guys the tones and make sure that I'm not skipping over anything here. Tone breaks at 10, this factory. Iron volumes at 3. And then I'm in pitch tones. And one little side note about that, if you're learning the triple score, whatever your tones are that you're learning in, bring to the beach and use the same tones. Keep the same tones whether you're using park, field, or if you're out on the beach. I use pitch tones for everything that I do, but I'm primarily a relic hunter. But if I'm coin hunting, I like multi-tones, 60 tones, and some people like 5 tones for that. But if you're coming on vacation and you're using 5 tones, then I suggest that you use 5 tones on the beach too. But if you're familiar with the triple score and you want to try a very alertive audio on the beach, pitch tones is very alertive. Now, I'm going to shut up talking for a minute. I'm going to demo this machine right here and show you guys how it sounds. So let me get it mic'd up. Listen to it when the water hits it. It'll give a little initial chirp as soon as the wave hits it, just like all detectors do, but watch how stable this thing is. You guys hear anything? Is this machine even running? Uh-oh, I need to cut the external speaker on, right? Sorry, guys. Now listen to it. And we got to run it right. Stable 12, sensitivity 12. Now I'm going to show you in conjunction, I can lower the recovery speed 1 notch and get a little more depth out of it, but I will get a little more chattiness, but this will be optional. The base program will start out with a recovery of 3. Still plenty stable up here. Still looks good in the water too, don't it? Now, one little side note here. If you were hunting in the surf and you were getting a little bit too much feedback, you would just come into the machine, run it up to a 4. That will help you with stability. I'll show that one time in the wave. That's how you do it. Use the sensitivity in conjunction with the recovery speed, and that will help you with your stability. So just keep this in mind. A higher recovery speed will give you greater stability because it will ignore the minerals in the sand that's from the salt water, but you do lose a little bit of depth. So I like to be around a 2 or 3. Now, hunting out in the surf, you may have to go up to a 4 or 5, but that's subjective where you're at. But for a base program to hunt wet sand, recovery of 3. Pitch tones, sensitivity, I'm running at 12 today. Now my buddy Carolina Digger, he's running up a little higher because he's used to a Sparky machine, but I like it really stable, and I know that it'll hit around a 13 or 14 inch ring in wet salt sand at that sensitivity setting. And we'll just recap, let me run back through them. Recovery of 3. The DT, I do not cut it on. It's not a feature that I use at this time. The iron filter's at 1. And you may need to raise the iron filter, but just start out at 1 and use that. And if you start getting too many bottle caps, raise it a couple of points, raise your bottle caps up, test it on a cap that you've dug, and go from there to set your machine up. But that's the base program. Bottle cap off. You guys see the settings here. Pitch tones, iron volume 3, and then I've got the ground just notched out, in the mode that just takes the ground minerals out, because I want to be able to hear the iron. That way, when I hear the iron grunt to the bottle cap, because a bottle cap will pop, and then you'll hear iron grunt off the edge, and you'll learn all this as you go. But this is the way to set this machine up in a stable platform that's super deep, easy to operate, great performing detector on the beach. So thanks guys for watching and hanging out with me. Sorry about the one mic, got to get a replacement. Stay tuned for the next video.